welcome our able and amiable Vice Chancellor, Mr. Charles Desimone. I want to thank him for the special love he has for this faculty. He has demonstrated it in every way. I need to let you know that when the application team came, the chairman of this conference, Engineer Meka Boma Eze. I just met him for the first time yesterday in the hotel, and it was a nice time. He taught me so many things within the few times that we stayed together. Thank you, sir, for honoring our invitation and for coming. Equally, I want to welcome our keynote speaker, Engineer Dr. Ukelwe Tupuodo. It's not my first time because when he came to visit us here, when he had program, he came to the engineering department. He was here and he surprised us. We are supposed to receive him and entertain him, but he rather entertained the entire staff and students of the Department of Chemical Engineering. Some of us ate the kind of food we never ate for a long time. Graduates are equipped to compete with their colleagues from any part of the world. It may interest you to note that the finance of Committee of Deans of Engineering at Abuja on the 7th of August 2021. The undergraduate students of the faculty took second and third position in the group project category and third position in the single project category. The theme of this year's conference was in green economy for sustainable making green economy a pathway to sustainable development. I will now conclude this address without expressing my immense gratitude once again to our amiable Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles O. Esimode, FAS, for his support and assistance to the faculty. The conference will certainly contribute to the success of Project 200 of the University, championed by the Vice Chancellor. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the members of the Conference Planning Committee, headed by Professor Mrs. Kiru Kamiu. We could have pulled off this event without their hard work and dedication. I would like once again to welcome the chairman of the event, keynote speaker, and the lead speaker presenter, and all our guests. To the conference paper authors, the viewers, and all those who helped in making this conference a reality, I say thank you. Respected guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a purposeful and rewarding participation. Thank you and God bless you.
Please, may we have another round of applause. Address. Now, on 16th February 1958, young engineers came together at London and they held a meeting. So, as they were holding the meeting, a woman was in labor pain. Eventually, they had a successful meeting and they established Nigerian society. And incidentally, the woman gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And incidentally, the bouncing baby boy is the chairman of this very occasion. We are talking about engineers. He grew to become the 25th president of Nigerian society. He doesn't play with waste. Anywhere he sees waste, he tries to make maximum use of it. If you read his profile, you will discover what he had done. I rather call him an enunciator and elucidator of procurement processes and regulation. Without wasting any further time, may we request our able engineer, Emeka Woma, OFR, to come forward for the chairman.
Thank you, MC. I was wondering whether you're trying to address me in borrowed words. Well, I feel highly honored, the Vice Chancellor, the Provost, the Dean, Professor Emeritus, professors, my friend, people, our professional colleagues. I want to assume that everybody here is an engineer. Well, you are an engineer by induction. So I want to thank you for this opportunity to be with you. Looking at the whole appears unbalanced. Those of us from engineering, civil engineering, structural department, we tell you that this bill is unbalanced. It's to one side. Forcing those of us here looking to the right, see where we are the vacancies by the left, I would have balanced the scale. But having said that, let me just share that I want to say that I feel highly honored to be invited by the Faculty of Engineering to share in today's international conference. I was asking, why is it called international? Dean has not provided the answer. But I think it's a question that we must begin to remember. Why is it called international? Where is the international component of it? Or is it because somebody is going to present a paper offline from London? Is that what makes it international? A conference like this normally provides opportunity for international experts to come and share their technology with us. And then provides opportunity for those of us in the academia to share, to link the gap with the town. And some of all these abstract papers, how can they even see how they can try any of them in the industry and see how we can improve? But having said that, you know, I want to wear the cap of a regulator. And regulator means that if I give a rule or instruction, everybody must comply with it. And when you are doing a bidding process and you say the closing date for submission of bid is 10 o'clock, anybody who submits bid after 10 is denied access. And when this conference was announced for 10 o'clock, I was here before 10 o'clock with my regulatory framework at the back of my mind. That the event was going to start by 10. But lo and behold, we came. We still saw that we still have some ladder going up and down. To me, engineering is beyond that. Because I'm so proud of to be an engineer. We all are so proud that we are the solution providers. And that has made all my children to be engineers. Beyond what we teach in class, we need to put them into practice, it's even more important. Especially when we provide ourselves opportunity to do so. And part of the waste management is time management. Because time is a waste that cannot be recycled, cannot be incinerated, cannot be dumped, nor can it be composited. Once it is wasted, it is wasted. So the process of collecting, transporting, segregating, distributing, and disposing of waste sustainably. The keywords: collecting, transporting, segregating, distributing, and disposing is called waste management. And in each of those elements, people are involved at various levels. For domestic waste, we all do that at homes. Our wives generate waste, we all generate waste. How do we collect them? Then we have a bin. Then how do we transport them? Some people come to collect them and then put them somewhere. Do we segregate them? The answer is no. We don't put degradable and non-degradable waste in one basket. But the plastics, the organic ones. And then we now move them to a dump site. And that's where it ends. And what are the effects? All forms of diseases, odor, pollution of the environment of our waters, with attendant health issues and challenges, and many other things that are associated with. The effect of it is that we are trying to solve the problem of today, and then compromising the capacity of our future generation to meet their own needs. And therefore, our waste management system as it is today appears not to be sustainable. Because as all of us do know, sustainability is the ability of our present generation to meet our needs without compromising the need of the future generation to meet their own needs. So when we consume all that they have to need to sustain their future, we are obviously repeating a very, very dangerous future today. And I don't think that is our own. And I believe that the essence of this conference is to find a way of linking, ensuring that the waste management, whether industrial management we're focusing on at this conference, and other waste management are treated in such a manner that as we're solving today's problem, we do not jeopardize the capacity of the future generation to solve their own problem. Because new set of issues will arise in their own time. And so that's why this conference could have come at a better time than now. As I was driving around, if you drive around the city, anywhere, not just only Oka or as a member of the transition committee, first of all, I took part in the Vision 2070 of Anambra and I headed the waste management subcommittee, climate change subcommittee. And now I am heading a committee of incoming governance in transition committee again. And the core of government is about sustainability and management of city waste, which all of us do know is a challenge beyond what we have said. And so this conference, like I said, would have come at a better time. Because as population grows, as the number is estimated today by 11.4 million people, food waste is generated every day. Plastics, e-waste. What is now coming is, as we go on the roads, we see a lot of broken down vehicles that are waste of themselves, blocking the roads. You see a lot of industrial waste, organizers, mechanics, dumping the oil from the road. And if you see where a mechanic is working, there's no life around that. All the grids are dead. And so, as we're looking at the big picture, perhaps we'll find a way of looking at it even closer as we look at events. So, the process of waste treatment, either by burning, compositing, recycling, or dumping, has great impact on our environment. We begin to interrogate ourselves and say, what policies are there in our time, especially within the university environment, for treating of organic waste? I know in my days in the University of Nigeria in Soka, they had a central sewage system that at the end of the month, people who are like farmers go to buy waste products as a byproduct to go to find recycle. But I think the whole system has broken down. That first they now think individual because the modern waste management system practices attach importance to not only the treatment of waste, but also to converting it to a useful substance, similar to what used to happen when the colonial masters developed the University of Nigeria. The byproducts of that domestic waste was being converted as amines, fertilizers. The industrial waste, agricultural waste, household waste, health center waste, and I'm happy that we have brought an expert, who is the fellow of the Academy of Engineering like myself, is a well-known Engineer of the Year award winner who has developed what they call post-scale incinerators. Incineration is just thermal treatment of waste at very high temperatures, about 800 degrees to 1000 degrees centigrade. So incinerate, either convert them to gaseous form or in a residue that is safe for human. Yes. And then we have, of course, organic waste. So Chukwu will be sharing this as a keynote speaker, part of the many experiences. And I'm sure that at one time he had to appear before me to defend a submission he made in one agency when he was trying to treat hospital waste. And because they could be hazardous, and the key incinerators came out to be very fantastic. So there are many various forms of waste. You have them in solid, liquid, and gases. And how you manage it depends on the time. As you do know that waste is a consequence of human activity, and therefore unavoidable, and must be factored in as part of our development agenda. Each time a factory is to be established, EIAs and studies are done, and approved and usually granted. But when factories are built and go into production, inspections ensure that the impact mitigation measures included in the studies are complied with, are often not usually enforced. And so the importance of waste management cannot be emphasized. And some people have said that unpleasant odor, reduction of pollution of our waters, reduction of waste production, creation of jobs, generation of energy, and revenue through landfill taxes are some of the many ways that we can, some of the many benefits of waste management. Then one may ask, how does this University of Nnamdi Azikiwe University community treat its own waste? Perhaps It could be a study that the Faculty of Engineering should focus on and see how sustainable is the management of waste in the university being done. Because it's good to start from home, then from there outside. What policy does the university have in place ensuring that waste generated within the university is safely treated in line with the UN protocols? This is a challenge because I'm here that the university is here, I have the opportunity of knowing that you want to be here. So I particularly put it so that thereafter to now we will engage in on that. Because a green economy needs to improve human well-being and social justice, while at the same time significantly reducing environmental stress and ecological effects. This can only be achieved if a change in people's culture support sound and this can only be achieved if there's a change in people's culture, effective governance regulations, and economic incentives. Our people have a culture of throwing things off for their vehicle or even dumping them because they think that road doesn't belong to anybody. So in addition to all we're saying, there's need for government of sensitization of the populace on how to behave and keep the environment as if it belongs to them. While I congratulate the organizers of this conference, may I use this opportunity to plead with Vice Chancellor, who we are privileged to have with us here today, to factor as a matter of utmost urgency waste management system in his yearly projects, part of which will include ensuring that the Faculty of Engineering receives all the necessary support, both funding and the budget provision, to ensure that this conference outcomes are further explored by ensuring that there's a link with the industry. I also wish to thank the organizers of this event to make sure that the recommendations of this conference are made available to relevant authorities and to follow it up with recommendations and implementation. I want to thank the Dean of Faculty of Engineering and all the professors, provosts, professors emeritus, all the lecturers, students, for the opportunity you've given me to chair this conference. As I listened to the song of the university, I felt moved that this university has made a commitment, and it says that is the pride of the state of our nation, fountain of knowledge and of wisdom, source of our hope and confidence. And so the sort of hope of this nation is in this university. Their freedom through education we gain with reverence, we honor our unity, where we learn discipline, self-reliance, and excellence. And so this discipline, self-reliance, and excellence are the hallmark of any institution of learning. And I want to thank you for holding up to this dream. And like I said, once again, thank you for the opportunity to share with you. Thank you very much.
Please, may we jam our hands together again. Chairman has delivered. We thank you for the presentation you've made. We'll quickly move to the next item on the agenda, which has to do with the address by the chief host. Of course, we know that our chief host has capacity and has been given. Of course, he's an associate engineer. Why he's an associate engineer is because engineering is always associated with projects. Once you mention projects, you mention it. And when he came on board, he said that his vision is project 200. So he's an associate engineer. He's a round of applause for him. Of course, we know the great liability of an engineer. But before I continue, there's two vehicles that we needed to urgently repair: LND 482AM and DD 54KT. Please, you may do well to repair because of some emergency that's needed. The great liability of an engineer compared with men of other professions is that their works are there in the open, where all eyes can see. His art, step by step, are cast in art. He cannot bury his mistakes in the grave like doctors. They cannot think it or blame the judges for his mistakes like lawyers. He cannot blame the past administration for his shortcomings like the politicians. Like the architects, he cannot cover his failure. And I'm even tempted to say, like the pharmacist, he cannot hide the mistake inside drugs. I'm tempted to say, I did not say. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great working Vice Chancellor and Associate Engineer. I welcome Professor Charles Okichukwu Esimole, FAS.
Did you hear what I told you? I said his promotion is at stake. The chairman of this international conference, our very big friend of this university, engineer professor is put good because they call him professor in some quarters because of what he has been able to proffer, especially in the area of procurement. In the elected welfare. Thank you for accepting to serve as chairman. The secret is that although he's an engineer, but because he's a very personal friend, the primary reason why he accepted to chair this and to be here, despite the busy schedule, because I'm involved. So I thank you for the honor. When the faculty sent the invitation to him, he secretly sent to me to confirm that I'm aware. I say, yes, sir, I'm very aware. We are planning it together. And so he gave his word that I'm going to come. So I thank you in a special way for that honor and privilege. I want to also recognize the Provost College of Political Studies, a very powerful person. Very powerful to see her like this. Yes, I'm happy that you are doing great, not just locally here, but nationally. A great woman engineer. Thank you. The Dean Faculty of Engineering, a blessed Dean, he came on board and the blessings started pouring to the Faculty of Engineering. Our emeritus professor, great professor who inspired me to become a vice chancellor without knowing, because I shared office with him when I first arrived here, and I started admiring the office of DVC. It didn't take long; I became deputy vice chancellor academy. So I thank Professor Sam Professor, being a great inspiration. And you have demonstrated very clearly that people are not tired when they retire. Yes, but when they retire, they actually refire. That's what we see in Professor Sam, they refiring and they're always still working. Thank you very much. Going to come. I was delighted because I heard so much about him. My protocol person was reminding me that I have a meeting. You know, I said I must listen to the keynote. Even if it's just to listen to half of it, I quickly want him not to distract me. That I said I will listen to the keynote before going. I thank Engineer Chukwog, MFR, for the privilege of having him here and all you have been doing for us. He has been mentoring, and he has always been interested in the things that have to do with engineering. Heads of departments of various departments in engineering, I want to thank all of you. Thank our dear students. I thank the lead paper presenter who is presenting virtually. I thank all other participants who have come from far and wide to be here with us today. In our usual balance, for those of you who are not people, I will say, no. That means you are welcome. God bless you. Ladies and gentlemen of the press. It gives me great delight to welcome you all to this 2022 International Conference of the Faculty of Engineering. I'm particularly glad to welcome the dramatic persona of this event, the chairman, Engineer Meka Ezeofa, was the former Director General Bureau of Public Procurement. Welcome the keynote speaker, Dr. Chukwukelue Chukwuemeka, Chief Executive Officer of Full-Scale Nigeria Limited, and the lead speaker, Engineer Dr. Matthew Aneke, who is a chartered engineer in the UK, consulting engineer in the United Kingdom. The theme of this conference is green economy, and the chairman has very aptly elucidated on what that entails. Green economy for sustainable development. I want to say that this is a theme that has implications both for us and for the state and for the nation, and of course globally. I want to thank the chairman for challenging me as usual that we need to start charity from home. And the chairman, I want to assure you and publicly say that even before this came, I myself, I'm a very strong advocate of green revolution. Very strong, but unfortunately, we're in the midst of people who don't value it in any form of manner. And we have started making some radical moves. We have presented to Senate. We have instituted a committee on environmental verification and green environment. A part of what we do, Chairman, in order to ensure this proper waste management, is that that committee has been empowered. They go to every faculty, supposed to on a monthly basis, and then they check environment, how you dispose waste, and then they have 3 cards. There's a green card. Green card means that you're passed. Then there's a yellow card, warning, there's a red card. If you have a red card, you pay the university. So, and we don't expect you to pay, we deduct it from, because now we have all their money, their dues, everything they have. So once you have a red card, we now deduct, I think 150,000 every month. So from there, so that you now know that there's a price for not being environmentally friendly. We have also gone beyond that to, there's a young man, because I felt that this is the young man that working with some students who has a proposal for going green, and because they are young and in order to encourage entrepreneurship. So the university is currently engaging with him. We have signed an MOU now. Part of what you'll be using students, will have student ambassadors in all the hostels and all the faculties whose work will be to promote, waste management. And they'll be utilizing this concept of waste to wealth. So they'll be doing that, but students will be involved. It's a complete student affair. So the launch for that program will be coming up, if not in March, then it will be in April. We're still looking at that. Our legal unit are trying to look at the MOU. And once we sign that, then they will launch it campus-wide, and everybody will be involved. Students, especially the student-oriented program, to teach them about waste management and how to be involved in that. So I'm actually, we've also gone ahead, before now, what people do here, I don't know whether engineers were not part of those things. They thrive on destroying our ecosystem. The fell trees, and I said, no, we have to do proper master plan, recognize our master plan, and then there are green areas that you must not touch. You don't touch those areas. And then those areas which we designated as green areas, that have been destroyed before. We're now doing reforestation. We're replanting now. We're planting trees now. We've done that. We partner with NCF. We're already planting trees, and we're also trained forest guards amongst our staff to help to monitor those who are doing illegal felling of trees and carrying these things about. So it's a very tedious thing, but you are still opposition from staff, opposition, but we are very persistent because I know they don't know, they don't know the sins, the wrong they are doing to the environment. That's why they're opposing. And in order to promote that also, part of the areas where we consider that people who use it for the fell trees a lot, we're now doing a golf course there. The area from the stadium, the very capital intensive, but I've entered. So it's a golf course, big and full-length golf course, 18 holes. Now we're already planning, so we are doing that. We're going to regrass the areas and leave some natural trees there so that we'll maintain this green environment and promote that. So I think without being challenged, I've challenged myself that is a policy. What we are actually working on now, which is what was meant, is to have a policy, and that policy is coming up. What I try to do is that once we develop the policy, I bring to Senate. Once Senate approves, it goes to Council, it becomes a document of the universe. So the policy for environmental waste management is coming up. The committee is working on that. They have not shown me the draft, but they assured me that it will be ready because then we need to have a policy in line with the United Nations environmental stability policy. So we are working strongly with that. I believe that when that is done, and all of you who are ambassadors, you come ahead and help us to launch that and give it wide publicity so that the world, the state, the nation will also know that this is the way to go. So I thank you for that. So this particular conference, I'm very confident that it will generate ideas and recommendations that will be useful in dealing with the twin challenge of waste management and clean energy generation. And this to be found that all that is called waste may not be wasted. So once again, I welcome you all to Nnamdi Azikiwe University, and I wish us fruitful participation in this conference. Thank you, and God bless you.
Please, may we clap once again for our dear Vice Chancellor. Thank you. We've heard from him, and we move to the next item that we have. You see, technology is not a good traveler unless it is culturally calibrated. Of course, our keynote speaker has done a lot as far as local content is concerned. He had so many patents to his credit and to the company. And of course, fighting waste is not only for the present, but for the future generation. This story of someone, a restaurant, and they have a sign posted on it. Your food had already been paid by your grandfathers. Just come and eat because it has been settled. Your bill has been picked up by them. And someone rushed in after eating. They wanted to go out and they placed the bill. He said, but you said that it has already been picked by my grandfather. He said, yes, it has been picked, but this bill is for your grandchildren to come. So in other words, whatever we do as regards waste is not only for the present generation, it's for the future generation. And our keynote speaker has done a lot in salvaging the future generation. And on that note, may I request our keynote speaker, Dr. Chukwu, MFR, to come for this presentation. Please, a round of applause for him.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor, the Chairman. I don't know if maybe Chairman, sir, Engineer Meke, my friend, colleague, we go way back. And I just, going way back was not negatively, it's positively and interactive. So I'd like to say thank you for being the chairman of this very important and for being in the transition team that is going on right now. And the talks, what you said about the waste management. I'll tell you one little story. But Vice Chancellor, thank you so much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, professors here, professor emeritus. My name is Pingo Tukwongo. The name Pingo is very meaningful, but because it's too long, sometimes I shorten it to Pingo Tukwongo. I run a company called Boston Nigeria Limited, and we've done this for 33 years now in Nigeria, doing things from a Nigerian perspective, doing developing systems, providing solutions to problems that occur in Nigeria from a Nigerian perspective. And we've made a success of it. And so it's my pleasure to be here today to make this, to have this interaction. It's very important what engineers said and what the Vice Chancellor also said about the waste management of the university. It's gladdening to know that there's already an action going on. What I would like to say, at the risk of sounding too committing to our company, is to say to the Vice Chancellor that what we are ready to offer to this university for this waste management of the university is a full collaboration with the university, whereas we can build all the equipment required for every aspect of waste management from A to Z. We'd like to get involved in the launching that will happen in March or April, as you said. And Engineer Meke knows very well that we have sort of properly in engineering, design, and manufacturing. Waste is something everybody encounters, and we all take it for granted, but we don't know what happens to it. And the way we manage it in Nigeria is, it begs a lot of questions, because when you think about it, you would expect that the various governments would embrace waste management, but that is far from the truth. A number of years ago, when the current government in Anambra State came in place, we offered to do a collaboration to do waste management for Oka, Onitsha, and the New. So we had a conversation, and finally they said they don't have money for that kind of project. So we all walked away. A few months after, we said, look, I'm from Oka, but Oka is my hometown. That's what I should do is to collaborate with somebody and let us build a waste management facility for Oka town, free of charge to the government. What we wanted was, we had in three portions. One, to give us 16 years concession, give us 5 hectares of land, and make your trucks pay a tipping fee as they come to drop the waste. That was all. So it was all fully explored by the government agency called ANSIPA. And eventually, they wrote up a proposal to the government. And at the expo, this was being discussed. We were told to be ready that MOU was to be signed the following week or so. Somebody at the expo said, why would their trucks pay? And after all, somebody wants to buy their waste. So the governor said, okay, no, you won't pay. And that was how that got killed. when you go around Okana, for instance, you would feel very angry with the level of waste that are dumped everywhere in a capital city of that. Anambra, pardon my patriotism, Anambra is a state that has the highest quality of human resources in Nigeria. And we have a capital that is littered with waste like this. So we want to take part in doing this thing, show commitment and show progress. So in the committee that transition, please, yes. All right. So what I'm going to talk about is current methods of managing municipal waste in Nigeria. Now, what we are doing is laying time bombs for generations unborn. Well, next slide and next slide. So I'm going to talk about waste, about waste and so on. Next slide, please. So, okay, waste is simply defined as something that you don't want. It's defined as unwanted material. It needs to be disposed. Now, somebody's waste is his waste. It may be useful to another person. That doesn't mean that you now go making money from that waste. You cannot make money. It's your waste. The other person that makes money from it, all right. It's part of my explanation, but it is something like when you the excreta from a human being is waste. Now he cannot sell it. He has to now, if it's in the rural area, a dog will come and eat up as food. So do you sell it to the dog? No. So anyway, that's just a raw the similarity of what goes on with waste, what we conceive as waste, wealth from waste. So the waste, like I said, it can be from in many forms, solid, liquid, medical, industrial, construction, electrical, etc. All these need to be disposed of. Next slide. Now, generally, it's known that everybody generates about nearly half a kilogram of waste a day. Nigeria, we have about 200 million people. So we have nothing less than 90 million tons of waste. And it was difficult to dispose of any household that had Ebola. So we were called to come and deal with the first case that happened in Port Harcourt. So we were, sorry? No, Ebola, that's Ebola time. Yeah, so when they had finished with moving all the goods from that household in which the person was infected, they called us to come and carry the thing to incinerate. And we got there and we said, okay, please bring, we got that ready, firing, ready to receive. We said, okay, drive it to our person. They said, no, we should take it. So this ran for a few hours, then they said, okay, well, I didn't. So new diseases will arise because new problems. Now, we are human beings, so we're looking for better standards. There's increase in population, increase in GDP per capita, new developments, and so on. One of the major problems that we do not include waste matters in the political agenda. Nobody asks anybody who is coming inevitable and they keep increasing. That's what we have as a problem. So that's why there's need to treat waste. There's need to treat because we need to reduce pollution or eliminate it, reduce volumes, destroy the waste, reduce diseases, provide for reuse, and the ultimate talk about looking for sustainability of society. Now, the next slide. Unfortunately, this is not very good focused material. But if you look at this picture, this is the waste dump. This actually is a woman doing normal thing that they do, waste dumps. And this picture on the left was taken about 15 years ago, and this was taken years ago. The situation is still the same. Wastes are everywhere. The disposal of waste appropriately has remained the major source of concern. Next slide. So, what do we do? How do we currently dispose of this waste? People collect the waste and dump on their roadsides. Contractors who have been given the job or the municipal agencies will transfer this waste to dump sites. They'll set them ablaze, and these things are done in open and wet places. All waste are dumped, including medical waste, industrial waste, and even sewage. Now, they now cover this dump material with topsoil, and within a few years, they lease out that place to ignorant people. Then they'll move to a new pit. The practice is done all over the country. There is no exception. Next. So this picture graphically shows what goes on. So waste are dumped on campsites, trucks move them to various places. This picture, fortunately, is not very clear, but you see what I'm pointing at now is a pattern of syringes. So it's a medical waste bunch in the midst of municipal waste. So they move them to this kind of places where a tractor does the mechanical. Go ahead. So these are pictures of various towns: Aba, Onitsha, Nnewi, Enugu. Of course, the ultimate, the biggest dump in eastern Nigeria is the one in Onitsha. Go ahead. Port Harcourt, Asaba, everywhere. Go ahead. Oka, this one is Oka. So the problem is that these things are dumped in various borough pits. These borough pits are holes that road construction workers have dug in search of laterite for road work. So these borough pits exist all over Nigeria. So next slide, please. So what happens is that the wastes are, this is a borough pit typically, then the wastes are dumped inside this place. And of course, we have a high rainfall environment. Now, so this bottom of this pit is very close to the aquifer. So as rain falls, it leaches out material, pollutants from this, and goes to pollute the aquifer because we don't have enough body of earth anymore to do any filtration. Now, of course, we sink our boreholes into this and take, okay, and we therefore drink polluted water. That's the essence or the way. The next slide. This is that on the share dump. Again, clarity wouldn't allow you to see that these are buildings all over this place surrounding the dump. The dump is very big. To be more than 100 meters, 100 meters. So next slide. In Europe, America, and other places, what they do is that they collect the waste, they send it to a material recycling facility where they bring out things and do composting, bring out what is usable, and whatever is not used here is sent to an incineration facility where, some other facility, incineration, gasification, etc. Then they now pick up power, do some power generation from it, and the recyclables are sold off. And whatever is left as residue from the incineration is sent to the landfill. The landfill in this case has to be, or it's usually a properly engineered landfill. Next one. So such landfill is basically an intentionally dug hole in the ground, and they line it up with high density liners, high density polyethylene liners, which would prevent leachate from entering into the groundwater. So they now start putting the wastes and adding topsoil, and eventually cover the system with topsoil and put some points to bring out the gases that would generated by the putrefaction that happens in the waste. Now, leachates that come out will be taken out, collected, and taken to the leachate treatment center. Therefore, the aquifer doesn't get polluted. Now, the only time the aquifer gets attacked is if there's a breakage of this lining. All right, next. So the time bomb we talked about, the topic is that current waste management methods in Nigeria, time bomb for all of us. It's actually time bomb for generations of fun. Because what happens is that the liquid components of the waste are pressed out by the sheer weight of the waste dumped on top. Liquid waste includes sewage and abattoir waste. All those are dumped in Nigeria. As rain falls, the rain percolates through the dumped waste, dissolving out the pollutants and flowing downwards and sideways. The combined liquid flow is called leachate. It's a toxic cocktail of numerous pollutants. Now, in Nigeria, we have all kinds of things, including medical inside. So you can imagine what could be in that. Next, please. So as the leachate moves through the bottom of the pit, it encounters little mass of earth which provides minimal filtration, and therefore it pollutes the groundwater severely. This is the primary source of drinking water for households and the bulk of people in society, middle class and low class. Now, lateral flow. No, go back, please. Lateral flow of this very leachate pollutes surface waters, as the ponds, the streams, the rivers. Again, the same thing happens when you dump waste. Usually, when they dump this waste in all this, when people drop waste outside, for 1 or 2 weeks, the contractors or the waste authority would not pick up the waste, and these waste keep on decaying in those places, and rain falls and pushes into the gutters and so on. So they pollute the surface water, that is the ponds, the streams and rivers. And these are the sources of drinking water for the poor in the society. Go ahead. So as the waste decompose, they produce different gases, mainly hydrogen sulfide, CO2, methane. Now these gases keep out the dump and permeate the entire environment. The resultant stench is perceivable by anybody within 2 kilometers of the waste dump. Now, because the decay is horrible. Now the material, that is the waste that are buried, are there perpetually. Nobody is bothering to go and harvest and treat. So the thing keeps on producing, interacting, producing new pollutants and staying there year after year. Go ahead. So the practice is all over Nigeria. It is difficult to imagine when it's possible to do any retrieval and treatment. Now, so that's how we lay time bombs for ourselves and generations unborn in this country by burying our waste, irrespective of time. Now, one man's waste is another man's starting point. So what happens is that those waste dumps are littered with recyclers, the informal recyclers, which we want to call scavengers, so to speak. Go ahead. And there's a very high danger of people being infected with several diseases. Those people, when they get infected, they're the poor in society. They can hardly afford appropriate treatment, medical treatment. Now, whole families get involved in this matter. In my house in Oka here, the community, that is the whole environment, has turned my house as waste dump. So there's a waste dump, an active waste dump in front of my house. So last year in December, I was coming home around 11 o'clock in the night, and I saw a woman with 4 children scavenging there, 11 in the night. And these children were from age 6-month-old baby to age 13. So I had to interact with that. Why are you doing this? The story of poverty and everything. Where is your husband? He's at home. So I tried to show her the danger that exists with that. I was talking to somebody who was desperate and everything. So said, what can she do? So that's the problem that happens. Animals also take part in this scavenging and unwittingly spreading these pollutants across the environment. Now, major soil contamination occurs also because the earth is polluted by that waste. And you notice that if you see plants growing in all those waste dumps, or growing, very aggressive. And when they fruit, you pick up that fruit and cut it open, it's fibrous. It's not real. That shows you the amount of pollution that has happened in that environment. Next slide. So in some of the dangers from dump sites are so many, polluting everything. The fires that happen, the fires produce smoke all over the place. The gases are generated that it is known to pose a greater danger to the community than malaria. Dump sites, accidents happen of all sorts in dump sites. Soil contamination, wet open dumps are breeding grounds for all sorts of animals. It's a national health emergency. We are just playing with fire. Next slide. So dangers from next slide, pollution and abound. People are exposed to all kinds of chronic diseases. Informal recyclers are found in society and are totally exposed to pollutants. Next slide. Possible solution. The way I think about it, that there are two levels of possible solutions. One is curative, the other one is palliative. The curative one, next slide, is I believe that we should address the issue of setting up appropriate treatment facilities for municipal waste by government and for individuals. The issue of individuals setting up has to, again, be on the government because they have to decide, give you free will to do that. Now, people need to be educated on the proper handling of waste and treatment of waste. Then there is the need to completely ban dumping of waste in borough pits. However, for you to ban such things, you have to set up the facility. So you have to educate our politicians and public office holders on the effects of dump sites. They seem not to know, or they seem not to hear anymore when they get into office. That's why I'm so very glad that my chancellor is so in tune with what needs to happen with waste management. So we need to bring waste consciousness into the political agenda. It has to be part of what needs to be discussed. Ultimately, the excavation and treatment of these wastes that have been dumped improperly over all these years will need to be done for sustainability. Because if we don't do that, we would be presenting diseases 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now that the people will not know the source of those diseases. Next slide. So proper waste management basically needs to be wastes are collected and sent to a material recycling facility. And there you do composting, you pick out recyclables, and whatever didn't get picked out here would now go to thermal processes for destruction. And that will generate some residue. This residue can be used to make blocks, interlocking blocks, can be used to also fill up swampy areas and recover it. There's a large area in Singapore that is that's recovered from residue from incineration. Now, of course, things like flue gas will be created by this burning. It has to be done, treated properly, and at the end, wastewater coming from it has to be properly. It has to be done properly. The good news, gentlemen and ladies, is that all these are within the capability of Nigerians. That's why it's so difficult to understand why we are not embracing it. Those of us who are in government. When we started doing incinerators for medical waste, we had a running battle with those who were importing the incinerators. It was Engineer Mechanism who was in office at that time, that stood and told them that this cannot happen. One of them was that we don't have international experience. And he told them that if these guys build facilities for Shell and Mobile and all those companies. What else is intentional experience? And he stood on that ground, and because we had won the bid commercially, but they said we are not qualified. So that's you may not remember, but it was very key. And of course, the post that they given to us, and it was given to us, and we did it, and we started moving business from that time, and we've done so much. We even export our systems all over the world right now. So basically, it's waste received, waste sorted into various things: metals, plastics, glasses, etc. What is not sorted is now incinerated. That's just basic. So the next is a video of a system we built in Delta State for Delta State government for waste management. This is the waste reception area. The truck comes in and gets weighed on the weigh bridge just for record purposes. You know how many tons we are dealing with today. And the truck now goes and drops the material at the waste reception area. Next slide. Then this is a video again of what happens to the waste. So the workers now pick the waste. Sometimes we use mechanical equipment to pick the waste and put on this recycling line, and the waste travel on, and they drop on further lines where people are standing. People are standing and picking up different things, definite things, just basic recycling. Now, this recycling setup that you see is so basic that any local government should be able to do it, because it's just a long conveyor, people properly kitted, stand on the left and right of it. So that's what happens, and people are trained to pick out definite materials. There's no interaction, no mixing of function. At the end, what is not picked up will go to the incinerator. Then we have what is called a cross belt magnet that picks up the steel cans, like milk cans and so on. So this is the last end. This is the end run of the flow. Cross belt magnet, sorry. It runs to the end and falls into the conveyor that takes it to the incinerator. The video is slow. Somewhere. So at the end of this line is an incinerator. That is the rotary kiln incinerator. Yeah, okay, that's it now. So the waste goes up into that incinerator and gets combusted. Next slide. So this is the incinerator that is doing the waste destruction. That is the residue waste destruction. It's a rotary kiln incinerator. Everything in this place, in this thing, is our engineering. Nothing was imported, including the controls and everything. And it's high temperature incinerator. It's a rotary kiln. It's about 2 meters in height, in diameter, and it's 60 meters long. And okay, look at this inside of the incinerator. The burning, the wastes are burning inside, and residue. At this point now, it's turned into residue, and its residue is inert because it would have achieved or gone through at least 850 degrees centigrade, and the residue can now be used for any earthwork. Right. So the flue gases come out and get treated to ensure that it meets the standard step. Next slide. So we recover things like plastics. So these will be compacted, and some other person who wants it will come by. Next slide. This is a bunch of aluminum cans recovered, bunch of PET bottles recovered. All these have secondary markets. Next slide. So what we advocate is that every urban center should have a proper waste handling facility. And each facility will be on 3 to 5 hectares of land. And there are various forms of partnership that could be done for ownership of this or effective execution of this. Each facility can decide to handle between 500 and 1,000 tons a day of waste. Industrial, medical, and other kinds of waste will now be properly treated. Each facility is deliverable within 12 to 18 months by us and all the other people. A few others that build systems like that. Now, if we have one town to build for, we will build it ourselves. But if we have a number of towns to build for, we would engage various other people, either are designed to build the conveyors, to build the other systems. That's how the economy would grow. And each facility will be able to employ at least 70%. And of course, secondary businesses will arise from the main operations. Groups can be established to run the operations. Next slide. So the next thing is the palliative solution. Palliative in this case is to maybe to recover once the deterioration, so to speak. Now, since the larger bodies of water are currently and potentially polluted, it's our responsibility to clean up our water bodies. We need to remove the bad odors, the heavy metals, the aromatics, and whatever else may be in there prior to use in our homes. This is within the capability of every home. That's appropriate filtration. Filtration in this case would be by using something like activated charcoal bed that is able to remove all those pollutants. Now, most places are within or in the vicinity of these dumps are suffocated by the bad odor. Such odors pervade many houses constantly. These pollutants in the air can be removed by the same activated charcoal. So, and this activated charcoal can be made from coconut shell, palm kernel shell, rice husk, the animal bone, and hardwood. It is a personal responsibility to cleanse and purify our world. It is a responsibility. Everybody, every household should have their borehole water pass through a bed of activated charcoal filter for effective cleaning. Now, the reason is that yours may not be yet polluted, but it is coming. Nobody can get away from it. So long as we keep dumping waste in those places. Now, the picture here shows the kind of the column like this, packed like this charcoal. Water from your water tank can go pass through it counterclockwise and go to house use. Household air purifiers are available. The system inside it is basically charcoal. Nose masks made of charcoal pad are also available. All these are just to ensure that we stay alive. So next slide, we are saying hashtag close all dump sites. That's actually to be a major issue. Any government coming out. We're so happy that a new government in Anambra is coming out. And the new government is positioned in a way that right now, in a way that is admirable. They're taking quality people to discuss and find out what needs to be done. So we are looking forward to a revived environment, so to speak. So Nigeria is going to dump at least 24 million tons of waste annually in dump sites all over the country. Brazil used to dump 30 million tons, but they started a closeout program, and right now they could be halfway through it. The closeout they're doing is stopping and also retrieving to treat. Now, in those retrieving to treat, it's called waste mining. The mine is a bit like mining. They go to an established dump site, excavate, process, and bring out a lot of good things that they want. Waste dumping is known to be prevalent in developing countries. It used to be in foreign countries, in developed countries, but more than 30 years ago, they banned all those things. The interest is focused on safety and health of the people. financial impact is heavy for this kind of dump. Closure of dump sites in Nigeria will result in serious decrease in greenhouse gas production. It could be equivalent to the removal of millions of crops from the road. We need to save the current and the future generations of Nigerians. The capacity to do this thing, to provide alternatives to dump sites, is within us in Nigeria. It's within us. We don't need to go to any Indian or any Asian group or American or European group for this. It is within us, financially, technically, and socially. It's a matter of what we think about our public health and our environment. In conclusion, I'd like to say that we need to stop the current practices. We need to bring the subject of this waste and its negative things to the leaders. We need to have all the governments provide for appropriate waste management. Close all dump sites. We need to carry out widespread education of the people on the dangers of the current poor waste management methods. People do not even know it. We need to challenge our political leaders with the problem of waste management. When we were running the facility in Asaba, and I would stand on the conveyor belt just to have explain what's going on, I was shocked at the quantity of cellophane bags that are packed with human excrement. And so when I interrogated our people, how can this be? They told me that that's how most people in various markets go to the toilet. And they will just stop it up and go throw it into the waste. So we are so far away in the concept of what we need of us being useful to ourselves in terms of waste management or waste products of waste. We need to cleanse and purify our personal waste. If you're not able to get activated charcoal for what you can do to cleanse anything, get a normal charcoal from the fireplace, crush it up, and use it for any such emergency situation. I want to say thank you to everybody for listening. I hope I've not bored you. I hope it's been if there are comments or questions, we just
Dr. Engineer, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. And municipal process in Nigeria. It's a wonderful position, and thank you so much for that. Yes, but I have one or two observations and maybe a question for you. In this kind of presentation, one might like to take a look at the estimation of water and air quality, particularly the groundwater system. Which could be compared with the World Health Organization permissible and acceptable limits as a proof that the surface contaminants and pollutants actually come within reach of the groundwater system to pollute them. Because at times when we overlook this, we tend to also doubt if they actually come into the system to pollute them. Sometime in the past, I was able to carry out research on the environmental quality surveys and evaluation in parts of Anambra State. And I was able to survey the industrial establishments and their product line, and I found out through their reaction equations the number of pollutants and contaminants. Then when I estimated for the water quality, particularly the groundwater quality, I couldn't see those pollutants in the groundwater system. So I went ahead to find out why. And using the transfer rate process equation, I was able to calculate the rate of transfer of these geochemical elements. And I found out the rate of transfer is actually too terribly small, to the order of S times 10 raised to power minus 16 milligram per liter per second. And so when I didn't see the liquids, the pollutants within the groundwater system, I started to adjust that as a reason. The rate of transfer is actually terribly slow, and so they get filtered off before they can come within reach of the groundwater system to contaminate and pollute that. Then another reason I found out was having interviewed the industrial establishment, I found out that they are applying some mitigation factors to treat these waste before they get them dumped out. And I think it's also a reason for which these leakages don't come within the groundwater system to contaminate and pollute that. So I would have loved to, in the next presentation, or whatever it is coming up, that
I understand what you're saying. Thank you so much. Interestingly, the language that you expressed now made us realize that we're in the academic environment. Thank you so much. Yes, there could be places where the aquifer is not yet contaminated, even in Nigeria. But there are a lot more places where these aquifers are contaminated. Now, in many places, right in the deeper southern part of Nigeria, and Port Harcourt and so on, you wouldn't even be able to get borehole water and get those. That's how easy or how bad the systems have become. Now, scientific articles, papers written by researchers in Nigeria on pollution that have happened from dump sites of the groundwater, of the earth around it, and of the surface water. All these exist in the various libraries. So one doesn't need to go back to start that exercise because they are there. What we are actually saying is let us stop. And we know that we cannot stop this on our own individually. The various authorities, governments need to step out. You want to ask yourself something like a vaccination campaign is going on. What happens to the residues of the vaccination, those syringes and so on? And we know what is in the ampoule of those, that those are live materials. I think I'm correct, right? Yes. And at the end of the vaccination, they just carry all those things and go dump somewhere. Usually a dump site. And the thing, those things can interact in various ways to do whatever or just think it's so wide.
Thank you. Just pause a little so that Vice Chancellor will present.
A lot of them. Thank you. This is an award of excellence presented to Engineer Nakamo former DG of Bureau of Procurement, former president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. This award is presented to you for your administrative reforms, public procurement in Nigeria. Educated, and I'm sure this is my colleagues also who are here. And a award of excellence presented to Dr. Chukwueluwe and at part, the CEO of Hospital Nigerian for your outstanding contributions waste compassion and reduction system. This award is presented to you by Faculty of Engineering at University, and I wish to ability to proceed for the award.
So, Mike, can you come? Come now, come and receive on behalf of the party.
And the same the first name actually. So the senior process engineer with the United Kingdom for your outstanding contributions to waste to energy systems and low carbon technology, which to congratulate Dr. Matthew.
Continue.
for to take part in this conference. I don't know if you were invited. That would be for the organizers to answer. On the issue of the workers being reckless or being reckless, that is part of the education that we're talking about that needs to be given to all those who practice waste management. That education can be done in a formal setup as Burma organizing regular trainings for their staff, various agencies getting into active education. That's my take on it. I don't think that we can force anybody to attend the conference.
Well, I don't want to question perspective of this question because this is more of a what do regulators do? Regulators put out guidelines that the operators must comply with. And so if they are licensed as a waste collector, there's certain requirements even at Abuja that you must comply with. You know, on the even at construction site, you're supposed to wear a helmet and protective gloves. And so the same thing. It is the failure of the agency taking the responsibility to regulate waste management. And then before we allow to ensure that all the people who are working there are speaker said, the people who operate them before they are just like we're talking about in our construction committee, somebody just appointed, even a national someone like minister or a commissioner, just walk into the office and say, "Sir, this is your seat, just go there and sit down." No reason, nothing. So even people who are employed as average collectors of this ought to be told what are the safety hazards that are inherent and what you need to do to protect them. Because everybody has the right to life. That's a part of the UN Charter. And that means that you must tell me what you're exposed to and then give them the tools as an employer that you must wear. So we have to, people at construction sites, before somebody goes into to work on the next building, you need to provide me protective equipment, tell me the procedures, none of the procedures you must have. This is as one in most of our institutions of government. And I think that bringing it up as part of public awareness and civic engagement, because citizens have send you as government, election university. Anything is not working, all of us are not. But then we have a responsibility to tell them what their rights are so that compare them with the government to ensure that this is done. So I think that not just the government, we are also part of it. One more question. Thank you very much. Just like what I said, I'm blessed to be here to see the address. And that's about the project on waste management and environment. Environmental economists ask some questions with the border on the cost benefit analysis of a particular project. That's on one hand. The other one is the presentation of the project we carried out. It's not a private or an individual, some government project. Anything that has to do with the environment affects everybody. So, how can we interpret this project so that the government can be convinced to put it into the budget? But at the end of the day, everything translates into the monetary value. And I think this is the aspect where the engineers need to work with economists, environmental economists, so that while you do the technical aspect, the other aspect that will be interested, that make government be interested in bringing out their money, will be there. That's what I want to know. So what I need to know, what does the project translate in economics? And what are the cost benefit analysis of such projects? Thank you very much. Final reaction.
Thank you very much for that very beautiful question. I don't think it is for the government to build risk management because they would always tell you they don't have money to do it. I think it is for the government to provide the what is that now? The enabling environment for those establishments to be done by corporate bodies. Now, as to the economics of it, the corporate bodies would have to know whether they can go into this or not. I gave you a story of my proposal for waste management. Now, when we said we wanted to build this thing, we were told to show how we make money. So we analyzed everything, showed how we make money from recyclables, and how we make money from the tipping fee and from the compost. We said also that we wanted an extra 5 hectares of land in which we would try out the fertilizer that we're going to be from the pesticide. Now, we showed that it take us 6 years to recover our investment. Investment at that time that was estimated at 1.8 billion. So we looked at how we are going to fund this. We found no bank which back us. So we planned a different approach for financial sustenance. We wanted to do it, start with 200 billion naira and do backward integration. Okay. So we said that we'll take 6 years to get our money back, another 2 years to get the interest on the money back. Therefore, that we needed 16 years. That's what the government did. So if the government had given it, that system would have been in place. So that's the cost analysis. Economic analysis is easy to be done to do. The problem that is more difficult to solve is the will to provide those models. And we are sure, we have confidence that this new government coming in is focused on what is done. I think that's the problem. Thank you.
Thank you. As we are
getting ready for the launch, we'll go through the lead paper presentation. Go through the lecture now.
You know that would be yes. Then I convert that. I'm at that process. Remember that convert that the next section happen that my parents. Usually, he never had counsel. He was doing like that. All the counsel or not. Of course. It was not- I want to know about that. not that it's compromise.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me today. Before I start my presentation today, which is entitled The Value of Place in a Low Carbon Economy, I would like to thank the Vice Chancellor of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Professor Charles Esimoni, the Dean Faculty of Engineering, Professor Joseph Babane, the Chairman of the Education, Engineer Mechanism, the keynote speaker, Engineer Dr. Chikelo Chukwugo, and other conference participants for this wonderful opportunity given to me to share my expertise and experience in the field of low carbon technologies.
That is the
My name is Matthew Aneke, and I am the Managing Director and Principal Consultant at Low Carbon and Sustainable Solutions Limited, UK. My presentation outline this morning comprises of normal carbon world, where we are going to explain what we mean by greenhouse effect and the role of greenhouse gases. Followed by the high carbon world, where we talk about the human activities which have impacted on the natural greenhouse effect. And the low carbon world, where we introduce the technologies that can help us to reduce our greenhouse gas emission and help us reduce the CO2 and the associated environmental impact. The intended learning outcomes from this presentation today is that first of all, we understand the need to reduce carbon emission and tackle climate change, understand the role of waste utilization in a low carbon economy, also understand technology options that is available to us as engineers to deal with issues of carbon emission in a low carbon economy. We also talk briefly on the technology readiness of these technologies and some of the applications that we can put these technologies to in Nigeria. Talking about the natural greenhouse effect. The sun, as we all know, is the primary source of energy. Energy coming from the sun is usually absorbed by the Earth's surface, and that warms up the Earth. Some of the radiations are reflected back by the Earth's surface, but also there's also infrared emission from the Earth's surface, which are either absorbed by the greenhouse gases or allowed some of them are either absorbed by the greenhouse gases, while some of them escape into the Earth atmosphere. Most of the absorbed radiation, infrared radiation by the greenhouse gases are reflected back into the Earth's surface, and the effect is that the Earth's surface warm, and especially, and the effect is that it keeps the Earth's surface warm. Some of the greenhouse gases we have are the carbon dioxide, the nitrous oxide, methane, and also the water vapors. Talking about high carbon world. High carbon world exists as a result of anthropogenic greenhouse gas, which are mainly caused by human activities. Anthropogenic greenhouse gases are gases that come from human activities, especially in the form of especially as we try to meet the increasing demand from the increasing demand in energy and human resources. Their presence offset the natural greenhouse gas balance and enhance the greenhouse effect. By so doing, they trap more solar radiation and warm the Earth atmosphere. The environmental impact of these human activities can be explained using impact equation. This says that the environmental impact of human activity is a function of population size, consumption, and technology. Human population growth is the #1 threat to the world's environment, as it has been estimated that the human population will reach up to 9 billion by 2045. And each person requires energy, space, and resources to survive. Mass activities offset the natural concentration of these greenhouse gases. As we emit more greenhouse gases through our activities into the environment, we tend to offset the greenhouse balance. And the impact is that we have human enhanced greenhouse effect. Right from the pre-industrial era, it is estimated that through human activities we have emitted more than 40, we have increased the concentration of carbon dioxide in the Earth's atmosphere by more than 40%, more than 150% for ammonia concentration, and more than 20% for nitrous oxide. And the resultant impact of this is that there has been an increase in mean temperature for both our sea, our land, and our atmosphere. So the increase in mean temperature is what we refer to as global warming. The global warming also results in a long-term change in the climate of a region, which are experienced in the form of extreme weather conditions like flood, droughts, and other extreme weather and wildfire. And that is what we call climate change. So in summary, we have an increase in population, which has resulted in an increase in human activities trying to meet the needs of the increasing population. And that has resulted in an increase in greenhouse gases, which has led to an increase in the mean Earth temperature, causing global warming and also the associated climate change. So the question is, how do we tackle climate change? First of all, why do we need to tackle climate change? We need to do this because climate replaces life on Earth, determines how humans live, and the survival of each species depends on global climate change. The Earth climate is in trouble and it needs urgent attention. Going back to our cause and effect of climate change, we see that we have a cause of the Earth, which include the increase in human population, human activities, and increase in greenhouse gas. And the effect is that there is an increase in the mean Earth temperature, global warming, and climate change. So for us to tackle the effects, we need to find a place in this chain that we can break the chain and stop the effect from taking place. We can do something on increasing human population. We can do something on human activities by finding the more sustainable ways that we can meet the increasing population so that we don't release more greenhouse gas to the environment. But as engineers, our focus should be on providing both alternative human activity that will help us to deal with increasing greenhouse gas, as it's not in our duty to dictate the population of the world. So the focus should be on this. That brings us to the vocable work, where we talk about reducing, eliminating, and preventing greenhouse gas emitted to the environment. So where are these greenhouse gases coming from? As we all know, most of our greenhouse gas comes from combustion of fossil fuel and also land use and deforestation, forest and wildfire, emissions, breeding decomposition, and volcanic eruption and waste. So these are the main greenhouse gases that are emitted into the atmosphere and their global warming potential. If you look at this table, you see carbon dioxide has a global warming potential of 1, methane has a global warming potential of 21, nitrous oxide 10. So the question is, why do we always talk about low carbon economy? Why do we always talk about carbon when it has a global potential of 1? that is answered in this slide. If you look at the percentage of emission, you see that most of the greenhouse gases being emitted by human activities come from CO2. So that is why there's an emphasis on reducing CO2 emission in a low carbon world. First of all, for us to reduce CO2 emission, we have to target where most of the CO2 is coming from. And that's from the combustion of fossil fuel, which account for over 89% of global CO2 emission. When we talk about waste and low carbon economy, this is what comes to mind. Have municipal solid waste, which are the open dump sites. We have biomass waste, we have waste plastics, and no matter of waste. But how about this? We also have the waste heat, we have the CO2 emissions, which are also regarded as waste in most instances. We have waste animal dung, we have waste tire, and animal remains from abattoirs. In a circular economy, our target is not to reduce the waste to the garage minimum and see waste as a variable resource. And these are treated in more detail in the following slides. Now we talk about technological solutions to tackle climate change, and that is seeing waste as a variable resources. Some of these technologies that are required to reduce the CO2 emission and that greenhouse emission are what we call the low carbon technologies. And some of them are listed here, including energy efficiency improvement, which can be in the form of process integration, heat integration, process equipment improvement, waste heat recovery, and process intensification. There's also alternative and renewable energy systems, which can be integrated with energy storage. We also have low carbon technologies like process electrification, and also we have carbon capture, storage, and exploitation. I will have to discuss real-life applications in my career. Some of the projects I've completed in those selected areas. Talking about energy efficiency improvement, where we utilize waste heat as a variable resource. This is a project conducted in United Kingdom, where they are made, which is the company is a crisps manufacturer, and what they do is to fry crisps, and the hot exhaust from their the hot flue gas coming from their frying operation is currently discharged into the atmosphere through the industrial stack. And in this project, we came up with a solution where we recovered the waste heat from the industrial stack and use it for power generation using organic cycle technology. And in this process, we have touched about 90% of the process by refining by not combusting any additional fossil fuel. This is another project that we carried out for the same company, where we are also utilizing another waste stream from another section of the plant for refrigeration applications using their production chiller refrigeration. In this project, we were able to achieve about 650 kilowatts of cooling load without utilizing the extra electricity, only by using the waste heat from the plant. Another project we completed was an open cycle gas turbine in Italy, where we are able to utilize the waste heat from the exhaust pipe to cool the inlet air to the gas turbine. If you look at this graph, you see the change in ambient temperature with time over the years. During the summer months, we see that there's an
Hello. 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 Hello, am I the next to present? Hello? Please, am I the next to present? 002. Hello? Who is on stage? After this person. Yes, I sent the PowerPoint slides of my presentation to them. Okay, Professor. How do you send? Yes, I did. Professor. Hello. Okay, yes, I did. I sent the PowerPoint slides to them. Okay. Also, the lead speaker. I didn't make a video here. You make a video here. I mean, like a one side or tape the video, send there. You just be watching on the let me see whether this thing is on. Okay. Okay, I'm still raising my hand.
Hello, madam.
Hello? Hello, sir. Can I share my screen?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, I am Matthew. I am not participant. I'm just a participant in the conference.
Okay, okay. I thought you are. I saw you as host.
No, I'm not a host. So I am meant to make a presentation, but I couldn't travel down to Nigeria for this. So I have to make a video. I made a video of my presentation and sent to them. What they're playing there is the video I made.
Okay, and you are watching. Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is I wanted to do it live, present from my location, but the internet is very, very poor. So I don't know how you are gonna do that.
I'm waiting to hear from them. If I hear from them, I can present from where I am now.
Yeah, the problem is not you presenting from where you are. The problem is their internet connection is very poor. The conference is going on now, but you can't even hear anything going on there. So the internet is very, very poor.
Okay.
It's all right. Take care.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Bye. Those guys that are not hearing you. They are not hearing what you're saying. We are both online.
Hello, can my screen be seen? Hello, can I be heard? Let's see alarm screen. Okay. Which kind of network can I use? Hello? Hello? Send it. Connect. What do you have? Oh, connect again. Connect your hands. Come let me make video now. I'm okay. Book a move. How are you going to tape? Get tape the voice.